There is a kind of intelligence the world never teaches. It cannot be learned from books or classrooms. It is not measured by grades or titles. It is a weapon born in silence, sharpened by observation, and perfected through self-control. Every genius you've ever admired had one secret. They learned to think beyond thought. They didn't react to the world. They watched it. They studied people the way a scientist studies the sky. They didn't rush to answer. They waited until every piece of the puzzle revealed itself. That is the first brain hack, slowness. The mind that moves slowly sees more. When others speak, you listen. When others argue, you calculate. You let their words expose what they try to hide, because every reaction reveals more than silence ever does. True intelligence is not about knowing everything. It's about noticing everything. The flicker in someone's eye when they lie, the pattern in their behavior before they betray, the reason behind every emotion that moves a crowd. The world belongs to those who see what others ignore. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The most powerful minds are not those filled with facts, but those emptied of distraction. A mind that can detach, that can stand outside its own emotions, can see the structure behind chaos. Most people are slaves to thought. They do not think. They are thought by their minds. They react, repeat, and run in circles, believing movement is progress. But intelligence begins when you stop identifying with the noise inside your head. When you can watch your own thoughts without being ruled by them, you have awakened. You become the observer, not the participant. You no longer drown in confusion. You rise above it. You can look at a situation from 10 angles while others see only one. That is real genius, not speed, not memory, perspective. There is a switch inside your brain that most never find. It turns on the moment you stop trying to impress and start trying to understand. When you replace reaction with analysis, emotion with awareness, and opinion with observation, your mind becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. You must train your perception like a warrior trains his reflexes. Listen more than you speak. Question more than you accept. Think twice before you move once. When the world presents you with chaos, ask not why is this happening, but what does this reveal? Every problem is a map of the human mind. Every failure is a code to be cracked. The man who sees patterns where others see randomness, he controls the future. This is the brain hack no one tells you. Intelligence is not about information. It is about interpretation. Two people can see the same event. One will be confused. The other will understand the entire game. The difference is not education. It's awareness. You can read 1,000 books and still be blind if you never learn to observe yourself. You can memorize every quote of Machiavelli and still be weak if you cannot rule your own impulses. The highest form of intelligence is self-mastery, because when you can command your own mind, you can command the minds of others. Detach from emotion, study it. Detach from fear, dissect it. Detach from the need to be right. Replace it with the desire to know. When you stop defending your beliefs, your intelligence expands. When you stop reacting to others, your power multiplies. When you stop seeking validation, your mind becomes unstoppable. The weak chase ideas, the strong build systems. The average man argues. The wise man observes, and the genius, he manipulates reality itself by understanding the hidden laws that govern it. That is the purpose of this awakening, to see truth beneath illusion. To understand that every emotion is a signal, every obstacle is data, and every person is a reflection of their desires and fears. The intelligent man does not fight life, he decodes it. When you train your mind to see patterns, time itself becomes slower. You begin to predict actions, anticipate reactions, and move 3 steps ahead of everyone else. It is not luck, it is awareness sharpened into instinct. Stop feeding your brain with noise, feed it with silence, because in silence, the real mind awakens. That is where clarity hides. That is where insight lies. Think less, see more, react less, observe more, speak less, understand more. Soon, your mind will evolve into something rare, calm, analytical, and untouchable. While others drown in confusion, you will float in understanding. While they argue about right and wrong, you will move in quiet precision. You will see through lies, through people, through systems, and the world will look transparent to you. That is not arrogance. It is mastery. You have awakened the level of intelligence that exists beyond genius, the intelligence of awareness, and once you taste that, you will never think the same again. Most people think intelligence means collecting information. But information without structure is noise, and noise kills clarity. The real genius is not the man who knows the most. It is the one who knows what not to think about. Your mind is a kingdom. Every thought you allow inside is a citizen. Most people let fools rule their mind: worry, doubt, envy, fear. You must be a ruthless ruler. Question every thought that enters. Ask, does this thought serve me or weaken me? If it weakens you, exile it. No hesitation. The moment you begin to choose your thoughts the way a strategist chooses his allies, your mind becomes a fortress. And when your mind becomes a fortress, no one can invade your peace. This is the second brain hack: control of focus. The human mind cannot hold the thoughts at once. When you focus on weakness, strength fades. When you focus on strength, weakness disappears. Whatever you feed grows. Whatever you ignore dies. The masses lie distracted, scrolling endlessly through meaningless noise. They are surrounded by information, but starved of understanding. A Machiavellian mind does not consume everything. It selects. It is deliberate, surgical, precise. It feeds on what sharpens perception, not what dulls it. Every day, your environment is programming you. If you don't write your own code, someone else will. That's why true intelligence begins in solitude. When you step away from the noise long enough, you begin to hear the patterns of your own mind. That is where ideas are born, in silence. Genius is not chaos. It is organized rebellion. It breaks rules, but never at random. It studies the structure first, then bends it to its will. Every rule that confines others becomes a tool in your hands. To awaken intelligence beyond genius, you must stop trying to fit in. The crowd will always mock what they cannot understand. Let them. You were not born to follow their rhythm. You were born to design your own. Learn to sit with problems instead of running from them. Most people panic when faced with uncertainty. The intelligent man studies it. He asks, what is this trying to teach me? What system created this result? Because every event in life, no matter how random it seems, follows a logic if you are calm enough to find it. Patience is the language of the intelligent. The fool demands answers now. The wise waits until truth reveals itself. Time exposes everything. It exposes lies, motives, weaknesses. When you learn to use time instead of fighting it, you become untouchable. Every time you resist the urge to react, your mind rewires itself. Every time you stay curious instead of emotional, your intelligence grows sharper. Every time you detach and observe instead of panic and respond, you evolve. This is how geniuses are made, not in classrooms, but in moments of awareness, not by accident, but by intention. They have trained their minds to see what others refuse to see, that reality itself is flexible to the one who understands it. People will call you emotionless. Let them. They cannot tell the difference between peace and emptiness. They cannot understand that detachment is not weakness, it is vision. You are not running from the world. You are rising above it to see its design, and from that height, everything becomes predictable. You can sense betrayal before it happens. You can feel opportunity before others notice it. You can read truth in silence and lies in smiles. That is the intelligence beyond genius, the intelligence that shapes destiny. You no longer chase luck. You manufacture it. You no longer depend on chance. You command it, because now you see the machinery behind reality itself. This is what Machiavelli knew, that the world is a chessboard, and most people don't even know they're playing. But once you see it, once your perception expands beyond obvious, you begin to move differently. Every word, every pause, every silence becomes a move. You become the mind behind the game, not the piece trapped within it. And when you reach that level, when your intelligence moves faster than emotion, the world will call it genius, but you will know it's simply clarity.
The moment you understand how people think, you no longer need to argue with them. You can guide their thoughts without saying a word, because the intelligent man doesn't fight resistance. He redirects it. He lets others believe they are deciding, while quietly shaping the conditions that lead them there. This is the essence of unseen power. Control without confrontation. Most people push, and the world pushes back. You pull, and the world follows. To reach this level, you must become invisible in the minds of others. Stop announcing your moves. Stop explaining your plans. Silence is the sharpest strategy. It leaves others uncertain, and uncertainty breeds respect. When you speak with purpose. Every word should have weight, measured, deliberate, calm. A single sentence spoken from composure has more power than 1,000 shouted from emotion. You are not here to impress. You are here to influence. Emotion is the leash of the weak. The one who masters emotion controls those who cannot. When you see others explode in anger, freeze in fear, or drown in pride, you must remember, these are not people thinking, these are people reacting. The strategist studies those reactions and learns how to trigger them. You will start to notice patterns in everyone. How some crave validation. How others fear rejection. How pride blinds the powerful and attention corrupts the insecure. Once you know what drives a person, you know how to move them. This is how leaders rule without force. They don't need to command. They simply make people want what they've already decided. They plant ideas like seeds, water them with silence, and let the other person believe it was their own thought. That is the highest art of intelligence. Invisible manipulation. But understand this, such power is not for vanity. It is for creation, not destruction. Because once you can read the world, you hold a choice to dominate it or to design it. Machiavelli wrote of princes who ruled through fear and cunning, but the true modern Machiavellian rules through understanding. He no longer needs armies, he has psychology. He no longer needs permission, he has perception. Your mind becomes a mirror, reflecting everyone's motives but revealing none of your own. And in that reflection, people will expose themselves. Their ambitions, their weaknesses, their hidden desires all become visible to you. You will learn to pause before responding, to see 10 possible outcomes before anyone else sees one. You will realize that silence is not emptiness, it is calculation. You are not waiting, you are choosing the perfect moment to strike. Timing is everything. A move made too early is chaos, too late is defeat. But the one who moves at the precise moment commands destiny itself. This precision comes only to the calm mind, the mind that watches, waits, and understands. Never show all of your intelligence. Half of your power lies in what others don't know about you. Mystery creates gravity. People are drawn to what they cannot predict. And when they cannot read you, they fear misjudging you. That fear becomes respect. That respect becomes influence. And that influence, that invisible authority, is the crown of the awakened mind. You are no longer a participant in the chaos. You are the architect behind it, the thinker, the observer, the quiet designer of outcomes. This is how power is held by the few, while the rest are busy reacting to illusions. So train your mind until it becomes steel. Calm your emotions until they move only by your command. See the world not as you wish it to be, but as it truly is. Because the one who sees reality clearly can bend it to his will. That is the final evolution of intelligence. Not knowledge, not memory, but mastery of perception, of emotion, of self. And when you reach that level, you will no longer chase genius. You will become the mind that genius tries to imitate.
When your mind becomes this silent, you begin to see the world with a new kind of vision. You no longer see people as threats or tools. You see patterns, systems, causes, effects. You understand that most of humanity is asleep, trapped in emotional reflex. And instead of judging them, you simply watch, like a scientist watching a storm. You realize how rare calm truly is, how silence itself can bend the will of others. When everyone else is loud, the quiet one becomes the center of gravity. When others panic, your composure becomes their anchor. That is real dominance, not through fear, but through presence. Power, at its highest level, is peace. Because when nothing shakes you, nothing can control you. The one who cannot be provoked cannot be predicted, and the one who cannot be predicted cannot be defeated. People will try to understand you, but they won't find the map, because the map is internal. It exists in the stillness of your perception, the discipline of your focus, the control of your emotion. And that map leads only one way, upward. The higher you rise in awareness, the smaller the noise becomes. What once triggered you now amuses you. What once distracted you now dissolves before it reaches your mind. You stop seeking approval, for you understand that greatness is not recognized, it is realized. The intelligent mind does not need to prove itself, it simply is. It moves quietly through chaos, shaping it from within. It does not resist life, it redirects it. It does not chase destiny, it designs it. And the more aware you become, the more you understand that intelligence is not about thinking more, it's about thinking less. Because the ultimate clarity comes when the noise of thought disappears and only understanding remains. At that point, every move you make carries precision, every silence carries authority, every glance carries meaning. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. This is where Machiavelli's wisdom meets mastery of self. He studied power in courts and kingdoms, but the greatest empire you will ever rule is the one within your mind. When that kingdom stands firm, no loss can break you, no praise can blind you, no enemy can reach you. You walk through life untouched, not because the world is easy, but because you have mastered the art of not being moved by it. You will notice a strange calm beginning to form in you, a steady silence that cannot be shaken. It is not coldness. It is control. It is the knowing that everything around you moves according to patterns you now understand. And when you live with that kind of awareness, you stop chasing power because you are power. You stop chasing intelligence because you are intelligence. You stop chasing peace because peace lives within you. This is the mind Machiavelli would have envied, not the schemer, not the manipulator, but the observer who sees all schemes before they begin. When you reach this point, you will no longer ask, "What should I do next?" You will simply know, because your mind and the world will move in harmony. That is the awakening. That is the level beyond genius. That is where strategy becomes instinct, and instinct becomes truth. So remain calm, remain watchful, and remember, power is not loud, it is silent. It is still, and it is yours. When your mind becomes this silent, you begin to see the world with a new kind of vision. You no longer see people as threats or tools. You see patterns, systems, causes, effects. You understand that most of humanity is asleep, trapped in emotional reflex. And instead of judging them, you simply watch, like a scientist watching a storm. You realize how rare calm truly is, how silence itself can bend the will of others. When everyone else is loud, the quiet one becomes the center of gravity. When others panic, your composure becomes their anchor. That is real dominance, not through fear, but through presence. Power, at its highest level, is peace. Because when nothing shakes you, nothing can control you. The one who cannot be provoked cannot be predicted, and the one who cannot be predicted cannot be defeated. People will try to understand you, but they won't find the map, because the map is internal. It exists in the stillness of your perception, the discipline of your focus, the control of your emotion. And that map leads only one way, upward. The higher you rise in awareness, the smaller the noise becomes. What once triggered you now amuses you. What once distracted you now dissolves before it reaches your mind. You stop seeking approval, for you understand that greatness is not recognized, it is realized. The intelligent mind does not need to prove itself, it simply is. It moves quietly through chaos, shaping it from within. It does not resist life, it redirects it. It does not chase destiny, it designs it. And the more aware you become, the more you understand that intelligence is not about thinking more, it's about thinking less. Because the ultimate clarity comes when the noise of thought disappears and only understanding remains. At that point, every move you make carries precision, every silence carries authority, every glance carries meaning. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. This is where Machiavelli's wisdom meets mastery of self. He studied power in courts and kingdoms, but the greatest empire you will ever rule is the one within your mind. When that kingdom stands firm, no loss can break you, no praise can blind you, no enemy can reach you. You walk through life untouched, not because the world is easy, but because you have mastered the art of not being moved by it. You will notice a strange calm beginning to form in you, a steady silence that cannot be shaken. It is not coldness, it is control. It is the knowing that everything around you moves according to patterns you now understand. And when you live with that kind of awareness, you stop chasing power because you are power. You stop chasing intelligence because you are intelligence. You stop chasing peace because peace lives within you. This is the mind Machiavelli would have envied, not the schemer, not the manipulator, but the observer who sees all schemes before they begin. When you reach this point, you will no longer ask, "What should I do next?" You will simply know, because your mind and the world will move in harmony. That is the awakening. That is the level beyond genius. That is where strategy becomes instinct, and instinct becomes truth. So remain calm, remain watchful, and remember, power is not loud, it is silent. It is still, and it is yours. You are no longer who you were. Something inside you has shifted. The noise that once ruled your mind has fallen silent, and in that silence, something powerful has awakened. You move through the world like a ghost in plain sight, unseen, but felt, calm, cold, and impossible to break. The world throws chaos at you, and you do not flinch. It whispers fear into your ear, and you do not listen. It tempts you with praise and provokes you with hate, and still, you remain still. Because you finally understand that every reaction steals your energy, every emotion exposes your weakness, and every outburst feeds your enemy. You've learned that control is not built on power, it's built on patience. You've learned that true strength is not loud, it's silent, and that silence is now your greatest weapon. You no longer chase understanding from others. Because you understand yourself, you no longer need to prove anything. Because truth no longer needs defense. You watch others burn with emotion, argue, and collapse under the weight of their own thoughts. But you observe. You see patterns where others see problems. You see cause and effect like lines written across time. You understand that every person is ruled by the same laws: pride, fear, desire, ego. And once you know what drives them, you can move them without force. You do not need to shout to be heard. Your calm becomes louder than any noise. You do not need to dominate with anger. Your composure bends the room around you. You no longer speak to win arguments. You speak to shape belief. You no longer fight to prove your worth. You wait until others reveal theirs. Every move you make is deliberate. Every silence is a calculation. You use patience as a blade, precision as armor, and awareness as your shield. You've learned that timing defeats strength. That waiting kills ego. That stillness can destroy chaos. You see how easily people are manipulated by their need to feel something. You've stepped out of that game. You no longer crave attention or validation. You know that the moment you stop needing to be seen, you become impossible to ignore. You have become the eye in the storm. Everything moves around you, yet you remain still. And in that stillness, you see everything. The motives behind words, the fear behind anger, the insecurity behind pride. You do not react to the world anymore. The world reacts to you. Every challenge is now a lesson, every obstacle a mirror. You no longer see failure as defeat, only as data. Every setback teaches you where emotion still lives within you. Every betrayal shows you who you've outgrown. Nothing hurts you, it only instructs you. You understand now that mastery is not found in domination, it's found in detachment. To be unbreakable, you must expect nothing and observe everything. You must want nothing and use everything. You must become so calm that even your silence intimidates. You no longer chase opportunity, you create it. You no longer pray for power, you embody it. And in doing so, you discover what few ever will. That peace is not the absence of struggle, but the control of it. This is the awakening that no one speaks of. The moment your mind transcends fear, and you begin to move through the world like water, adapting, flowing, unstoppable. You don't resist life anymore, you redirect it. You don't cling to people, you understand them. You don't depend on chance, you create your own. And when people ask what changed, you'll simply smile. Because they'll never understand that the most dangerous mind is the one that no longer reacts. The calm mind, the cold mind, the mind that watches everything and moves only when it chooses. That is your final evolution, not a man of emotion, not a slave of thought, but a master of awareness, calm, silent, infinite, impossible to break.